Welcome to Sister Strong, a podcast and video series all about possibility. I'm your host, Betsy Wiersma. This podcast and video series is our way to share ideas, insights, experiences, and amazing women that have ideas for your journey as we stand together for health and happiness. It's ideas for your toolkit, so try them on and see if they work for you. Today, sharing her amazing knowledge, her incredible vision, all of her tools and tactics, Sally Spencer Thomas. Welcome to the show.
Yay. I'm so happy and grateful to be here, Betsy. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, when I think of people I want in my toolkit, I'm saying you. I want you and your brain in my toolkit because you are an expert in resilience. You're an expert in really helping people with tools and tactics for today. So start by telling everybody a little bit about you so they can get to know you. And then we will dive into some great things everybody might need in a toolbox right now in this time.
Sure. Thank you. So I'm a psychologist by training, but today I identify myself as an impact entrepreneur. I lost my brother to suicide in 2004, and that was a game changer for me. So today I try to create very innovative and gap-filling things to prevent what happened to my brother from happening to other people. So I focus on resilience, mental health promotion, and suicide prevention, where we live, learn, and work.
Well, see, and people are like, oh, yeah, that's all. Like all that, like one human being, and I'm saying, yes, I can be the testimonial. Yes, this one human being that you see right here smiling at you really does all that. So tell everybody a little bit about, I think, some of the topics. Well, first, I want to touch on suicide prevention because I know that's the closest to your heart. And, in times of change and in times of challenge, I think, every single thing has changed for every person we know in the,
Yep.
the globe,
Yep.
right? We are in the middle of a pandemic. Who even heard of that? My best line is, this was not on my 2020 vision board.
Nope.
Right?
Nope.
It was not on my vision board. Like, what? And so as everything changes, I think it escalates the tension in the household. Is that a nice way to say that? So
Yes.
let's talk about suicide prevention first, and then we're really
Sure.
going to spend the rest of the time about really general resilience and adaptation to change.
Sure. So I just want to clarify for me, for most people who are thinking about how do people get there, I've come to understand that it really is about escaping excruciating emotional pain. Right. So the distress and the hopelessness and so forth. And a lot of that experience is driven by two things. One of the things it's driven by is a sense of being a burden to other people. So this often happens when people have lost their way and they have made what they perceive as a major mistake, and they've caused harm or sadness or a burden to other people. And there's lots of different ways that people can find themselves in that space. That's one of the drivers, when people have lost their sense of purpose or calling or mission. The other is when people feel very disconnected. So that's another reason why we are on heightened alert right now, is because people are losing their livelihoods and people are feeling very isolated. When people have lost those intimate connections, that's part of it. So death, divorce, moving, etc. And when people have lost their kind of collective identity, I am part of this workforce, I am part of this community. When we lose that, or when we want it and we can't get it, those types of experiences often drive suicidal despair. So in thinking about our current times, the antidote to that is the opposite. The opposite being connection and feeling like there's meaning in your life. And so how do we have daily practices around that to help us ward off some of these incredible global catastrophe pressures right now that are really wearing on those human needs?
Yeah, and it's funny, like Zoom, which I was an early adapter on Zoom like 3 years ago, and nobody wanted to have a camp meeting on Zoom. I was there by myself, always with crickets. Hello, camp online, and people were like, "What? Go away!" And now people, it's nice, and I feel good that we can serve even bigger
Yeah.
digitally because anyone, anywhere can be a part of that. And even my dad, who is a self-described fogey. He's like, I like my foginess. He is now letting us buy him one of those connector Alexa things, and he's going to learn how to use it at 85 to be more connected, since he is definitely isolated. So yes, isolation could bring some of that on.
Yeah, yeah. I was also an early adopter on Zoom, and I'm just so grateful because I have my childhood camp friends that I haven't seen since I was 13 years old. We had a Zoom get together, my college friends and my elders every night. my kids and my husband and I are checking in with our elders every single night. And it's been quite possibly a lifesaver, just to see their faces and share our days this way.
Yes. So, and I hope that that is one of the things that actually lingers after we do have the ability to have more normal and more connected lives. I still hope that now my dad, who does not live in the same state as me, will have this video linked to me, that I will get to see him more. And, some of that I hope will linger to the next thing. So hopefully people will be using technology, and those of us that can will be very active in reaching out to not only our elders, but all people that are in our lives, to say hello and to check in with them and help that. So let's go over to resilience, just a small
Yeah.
topic. So
Right.
let's just pretend that I'm stuck in my house for 24 days. Oh, I'm not pretending. It's
Right.
true. I don't know about you. I still wake up in the morning and I go, okay, I've had this super weird dream that felt like it was really long, that everything I know has changed. My international travel is canceled. My daughter is now home. And my husband and I have been in this house for 24 days. And then I look around and say, you're right. It's true. So let's talk about your tips for people that are all going through this together.
Sure, sure. And I have three that I'm thinking about, so I'll just share those. So my first one has to do with this picture behind me. I am in a place where I get to go outside a little bit and take in the smells of those pine trees and the sunshine. And so my first tip is really about what I call soul care. There are different ways that people are going to be able to do this in different spaces, but what is one thing that speaks to your soul? Do that every day. So for me, I get outside. I actually am a very early riser. I get up at about 5 o'clock in the morning and I walk my dog under the moon, listening to my very inspiring podcast. And that is just the best way for me to start my day. And really seeing if you can tap into whatever you choose. Maybe it's art, maybe it's music, but this sense of awe and wonder. Feed your soul every day. And for some people, that's got to come in the frame of some kind of religious practice or faith practice or some kind of social justice work. Whatever it is, feed your soul every day. That's number one. Number two, I think many of us are cycling through episodes of really intense emotional experiences. So intense anxiety, the uncertainty, panic about our finances, panic about our family's well-being, really this huge panic about what is actually happening to our globe right now. And so I want to give a little bit of a hack on how to handle that when it feels really, really intense. It turns out we're mammals, and mammals have this reflex that we evolved into so that we wouldn't drown. So it's called the mammalian diving reflex. And you've all experienced it. It's just this funky thing that our brains learned to do so that we wouldn't drown. If you've ever jumped into a really cold lake or a cold pool or had a really cold shower, that's the mammalian dive reflex. You all have that experience, like, right? You get shock, a little bit of an experience of shock. And then when you come out of that water, you feel like $1,000,000. It's part of the reason why, when kids fall into pools and they don't drown, or when people fall through the ice on a lake and they don't die, it's because very quickly what happens is your brain goes, uh-oh, and shuts your body down really fast. So our parasympathetic nervous system is what we call it, kicks in. So your heart rate goes down, your breathing goes way down, and everything goes into automatic emotional reset. So if you're having a panic moment, literally go soak your head, like go put your head in cold water for 15, 30 seconds, or take a really cold shower. And the chances are good that you'll come out of that experience going, okay, I got this. When your breathing exercises aren't working and all the other stuff, just try this, because in 30 seconds, you could probably have an emotional reset. And the third thing that I really want to stress right now, because it's becoming increasingly aware to me that we have to prioritize our sleep. When our days are so dysregulated and we've got all this anxiety and maybe people are, starting their cocktails at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever we're doing to try to cope with the situation, our sleep has gone out the window. And the more we learn about sleep, the more we learn how it's absolutely fundamental to all kinds of health related things, including our immune system, our emotional well-being, but also it's directly connected to suicide risk. So the more nights you're not sleeping, the more your risk for suicide goes up. And that's true for your teenagers and your elders and everybody. We have got to prioritize sleep. And if you do this long enough, your brain actually starts to calcify and you run increased risk for Alzheimer's disease. So if I can't convince you today, think about the longer term implications. So how do we get to sleep? Well, we have to have a sleep ritual for at least 2 hours before bedtime, especially now that we're totally dysregulated. Start thinking about winding down. No more caffeine, no more booze, no really hard exercise. Do everything in your power to calm down. And for Pete's sake, turn off the frickin' news. Like, put the phone away at about 8 o'clock because it's way overwhelming. And then just everything you do is self-soothing. So calming music, herbal tea, stretching, whatever it is for you, different things for different people. Start putting that into your nightly ritual, and then do your best to sleep at least 6 to 8 to 10 hours, whatever is the norm for you. It's super important for the entire well-being.
Well, those are super great tips. I totally get you too. I'm really concentrating on letting myself sleep, and the days that you get to wake up when your body wakes up is just like so unseen. So having a couple of those here now is really a gift. And these are such great tips. Sally, please tell everyone how to find you to connect.
Yes, thanks. So please come on over to sallyspencerthomas.com and connect with me there. I'm also in all the social media places, pretty much every single one, but I'm very active on Facebook and Twitter, and I would love to connect with you and learn more about you.
Awesome. Well, you can tell what a resource. And then be sure you listen to her Boost Power podcast. It'll be launching this summer. Go find everything you can to soak up as much Sally Spencer Thomas as you humanly can, because everything about her is fantastic. Thank you all for listening to Sister Strong, a podcast and video series all about possibility. We are part of the Global Sisterhood podcast network of women sharing uplifting ideas, insights, and stories on purpose for good. Please share our helpful messages to others who are looking for ideas for a happy, healthy life, especially these really tactical, jump in, throw yourself in that cold shower and sleep it off, because that is going to help all of us. I am your host, Betsy Wiersma.